The Soviet Union was second to obtain the technology, having started as early as 1941 after noticing German, British, and American scientists stopped publishing papers on nuclear fission. They suspected they were also working on creating weapons. The program was accelerated rapidly after seeing the Americans' nuclear attack on Japan, and while they had a lot of information from spying on the US programs, they were worried of potentially being fed misinformation from double agents. Because of this, they didn't trust the stolen American design, so they still ended up doing a lot of their own research. Using many captured German scientists, they built their own project while also using the United States' designs to check it was correct. Earlier than the US expected, in 1949, the Soviets successfully completed the RDS-1 test in Kazakhstan. The US no longer had the monopoly on this technology, and this would create the Cold War arms race with the United States to stockpile as many nukes as possible. The third country was the United Kingdom. Now, you might assume that the US would have helped them, as they were key allies fighting side by side in both world wars, and in theory, America would want to empower their good friends in Europe, but this was not the case. The UK pioneered a lot of the groundwork on nuclear weapons before the US with a project called Tube Alloys starting in 1940. They did this with the help of German, Austrian, and Polish scientists that were fleeing Germany at the time. But due to limited resources fighting the Second World War, Britain handed over all of their work to the US, merging it with what would become the Manhattan Project and providing a significant amount of research under the Quebec Agreement, stating that the US and UK would share the technology once completed and not use it on each other. But in 1945, when the US successfully tested and used its nukes, they also terminated the agreement and didn't share the final results to Britain, keeping it to themselves. This prompted the UK to resume its own nuclear program, and this was done quickly as they had already done a lot of the work and controlled most of the world's uranium. The UK successfully completed its first test called Operation Hurricane in 1952 at the Montebello Islands just above Australia. Meanwhile, after the Soviets had developed nukes much faster than expected in 1949, the US immediately began work on a newer type called thermonuclear weapons. Unlike the standard atom bomb, which uses fission to split atoms, these use fusion to combine atoms, the same process that happens inside stars, and these are significantly more powerful than atom bombs. Scientists like Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project, warned the US not to develop these because of the extreme danger to mankind and where this nuclear arms race was going. But despite this, President Truman gave the go-ahead to continue. In 1952, the United States successfully completed Ivy Mike, the first test of a hydrogen thermonuclear bomb over 450 times more powerful than the one dropped on Nagasaki. The Soviets then completed theirs in 1955 called the RDS-37, and the UK completed theirs in 1957 called Operation Grapple. Because of this new threat of hydrogen bombs, the US then decided to re-sign a nuclear agreement with the UK the following year in